Alright, what is up guys and gals, this is Brandon, and today we're going to talk a little bit about this GTX 1650. A lot of people gave this graphics card a lot of crap right out of the gate, and I really don't understand why. Back in the yesteryear, when you think about the GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti, a lot of people praised these cards. They were like, ooh, you could drop them in, they don't need external power. Some of them could, if you got like overclock models, but they're a really good value. Obviously, they didn't mine a ton, they didn't make a lot of money, but for somebody wanting to upgrade and get into gaming, and if their computer literally had like no graphics card, it was a really good option. Now that the landscape of used graphics cards has changed, and so many RX 570s and 580s are available, people are like, oh my god, why wouldn't you just buy a 570? Or why wouldn't you just buy a 580 used for the same price, if not less? Because on eBay they're going for that $100 to $150 price range, and a GTX 1650 MSRP is right at like $149, $159. So it's kind of like you can get a better card or you can get a newer card. But I just kind of want to be the devil's advocate here, and let's talk a little bit about the GTX 1650. I currently have it in the machine that I'm using right now, and it's been a good little card. I definitely don't want to rag on it because it seems like that's what everybody else is doing. So let's jump over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I can find it. Is that it? Okay. Alright, that's it. Yep. Well, that's my streaming one. What about... Okay, we'll just use that one for now. By the way, I still can't live stream because I am still running on DSL connection. It's like 1.5 megabit. I called the company, and fiber should be getting laid like any day now, so I'm ready to get some fiber laid on me. The graphics card in question, here's an example, GTX 1650. They come with 4 gigs of GDDR5. $149 is the price. It's on Amazon. I got a link down below in the description if you want to check it out. No external power needed on these graphics cards. These are replacing the 1050 and 1050 Ti series, so these are good. These are for your entry-level gamer drop-in, essentially. But I wanted to bring up the fact that if you go to what to mine and you put in 1570 and then you calculate it, it's going to tell you that they're making 51 cents a day on the most profitable coin, which is Ethereum Classic. Then they're making 48 cents a day on Ethereum. These cards used to be a lot more profitable. They've lost a lot of their profitability because they're kind of limited to what they can mine. And the next best thing is like Monero, which is down at 35 cents. One thing that a lot of people forget about is power. 570s and 580s are not the most power efficient cards. Yes, you can BIOS mod them and get them more efficient, but on average, you're looking at about 100 to 125 watts on a 570 to a 580. I know people are going to go crazy, oh, I can get my 580 at, 60 watts, but realistically, on a computer that you're going to be using, 580, it's going to be eating up some power. 120 watts, no big deal. That's what it's going to be doing. It's going to be doing something like that. Now, a 1650 is a 75 watt card. That's because it's only pulling power from the actual PCI slot, and your PCI slot in theory can't supply more than 75 watts. Now when it is running on here, it says 75 watts. I've never seen it go over 75 watts, but I haven't tried turning the power up. Just running this card at stock clocks, I'm doing 43 cents a day. Yesterday it was doing better, but we've seen a little downturn in the market, so it lost a couple cents. It was doing like 48 cents, but we dropped about 5 cents, doing 43 cents a day. And it's doing it at almost, I'd say 65, we'll say 65% of the power of an RX 570 or RX 580. So, I mean, we're really not doing so bad. If anything, it all probably works out in the wash. But the biggest advantage, I'd say the biggest advantage of all this situation is you end up with a lot newer card, and you end up with a card that's very, very versatile. A 1650 can go in almost anything, whereas a lot of your 570s and 580s, they're going to be full double slot cards. You may have issues in certain systems, especially if you're trying to put it into an OEM system. You'll have to upgrade the power supply, whereas these will go in literally anything. a stock power supply on any Dell or HP won't have any problem pumping the power and getting that 1650 up and running. I just hate the fact that everybody rags on the 1650s for being a bad buy. They're not a bad buy if you're comparing new to new. They're the used market. They're a decent buy, but they're obviously, if you just want straight gaming performance, going for a 580 or 570 would be better. Now, I thought let's bring up some user benchmark here and get an idea of what kind of performance jump we got from the 1050 Ti to the 1650, about 36%. So, for example, if you compare it to a, what was it, the 1066 gig, well, the 1066 gig is 36% better than a 1650. So the performance jump it's better than a 1050, but obviously you could get a 1066 gig for, that low $100 price range, probably about the same. And I think that's honestly a better buy than an RX 570 or 580. I think a lot of people are getting eclipsed by these cheap AMD cards. Now if we put a 570, let's put a 580 up there. In comparison to a 1066 gig, it's going to be almost identical performance, but you're going to end up making quite a bit more money on the actual mining end. Let me get that in there. So look at that. Okay, 52 cents. Okay, so not a ton more money, but 3 or 4 cents, but it's a lot more versatile. You can definitely mine a lot more things on a 1066 gig. And that's kind of what I want people to realize. 1650, not a bad card. RX 580, RX 570, not bad cards. Even 1066 gig, not a bad card. Now, would I recommend these to go out and buy a fleet of them for mining? No, I think really the golden child is the 1660s and potentially these new 2060 Supers when I can get my hands on them. But I did want to give an honest review of the 1650. I have been playing a couple games on it. I can manage playing what was it? Call of Duty Black Ops, no problem. Put ARC on it, medium settings, it seems fine. On high settings, it loses a little bit of frame rate. I'm in the 50 frames, or give or take. But that's the biggest thing. Is I felt like putting a video up to kind of defend the 1650, and that's one of the big things I noticed. A lot of people like to rag on the little cards, because when I first got into mining, I built my first rig was a 1066 gig rig, and back then it's oh, why you building 1060s? Those are junk. Only do 1080 Ti's or 1080s, or if you have to scrounge by 1070s. But I couldn't afford them at the time, so I started out with 1060s, and then I saw these 1050s. I'm like, the price on everything else is high, but these 1050s are cheap. So I built a 1050 rig, and at the time everybody was like, oh my god, don't do that. But you know what, those 1050s were low, they didn't burn a ton of power, it was very easy for me to set up because there wasn't a lot of extra wires, super maintainable, very, very easy rig to get up and going. Is it the same parallel with the 1650? Almost. The problem is, if we have a bull run and we have mining profits go out of control and go crazy through the roof, the price of 1650s is going to go up just like everything else. But 1650s may be the cheaper option for a little while. I don't know. When it goes crazy and parabolic like it did in 2017, you could literally mine on a potato and make money. Everything makes money. But if you're thinking about buying a 1650, say if you're on a computer right now with integrated graphics or a super old graphics card, and you're thinking about buying a 1650 for gaming and a little bit of mining, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. If your budget's that low $100 price range, if you have a little bit more budget and you can break into that $200 price range, I think definitely a 1660 is the way to go. But that's for another video. So guys, thank you for watching this. Much appreciated. I am going to be having some updates and stuff happening in the Discord. We're going to be launching a monthly graphics card or potentially contest / giveaway. I don't exactly know how that's going to work, but I do have some graphics cards, and they need to go to you guys out there. So the whole Discord will be getting restructured and rebranded. It's essentially going to be I guess you could say changing ownership. I'm going to kind of be stepping back, and it's going to be more of a community-run Discord, and I'm going to be looking for some team members to come on for administrative and moderated roles. So yeah, if you're interested in that, jump over to Discord, message me, and we'll see if we can't get you voted in. But I want it to be definitely more community oriented. So with that being said, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. GTX 1650, 0 out of 10 rating. I would say for a new price, comparing it against new cards, solid 6.5, 7 out of 10. It's pretty good value. It's pretty good for gaming, and you can mine on it. I mean, when you're making almost 50 cents a day, that's like $15 a month. Before you know it, that's a nice little chunk of change just sitting there, and it doesn't burn a lot of power. I guess that's the big thing is you could probably mine on this and nobody would notice. Not saying you should go mine on other people's electricity, but say if you were living with your parents and be like, hey mom and dad, I want to mine, but I don't want to burn up a lot of electricity. Hey, could we think about adding this in? You can do the math on it. 75 watts, 24 hours. Actually, let's do this right now. Hold on. Let me bring up the calculator. At my power rate, let's see what a full tilt, 100% power, 75 watts on a 1650 all day long, 24 hours a day, 30 days out of the month. That would be right at 54 kilowatts. And we're going to times that by my electricity, which is 10 cents a kilowatt. So if I ran a 1650 every single day at 100% power all month long, it would burn $5.40 electricity, and it would make right at almost $15. So you'd make $10 in profit in a month. Not a bad little card, especially if you're doing some gaming on it and using it as your first graphics card. And the best part about it is it's a newer card, so you could always sell it and get your, a majority of your money out of it. If you buy a 1060 right now, a 1060 may not be worth, 50-60% of what it is in a year from now. But you can almost guarantee a 1650 is you're still gonna be able to get 75 to 80% of your value out of it. So just keep that in mind. No need to hate on hardware. I'm a hardware guy. I like all the hardware. So yeah. Alright guys, I'm peacing out of here. I'll be over in the Discord. I'll catch y'all later. Adios.